What's going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Warren Watches Wrestling back at you with another video. And today we'll be breaking down this episode of Monday Night Raw, August 10th, 2026. And to spoiler, this episode was, it was not the best. I mean, especially coming off last week, we had a great episode of Raw. This one was a big step down from the wrestling that we got last week. Maybe it's because I had a 13-hour shift at work and I just was a little tired, or the show just wasn't hitting. My editing wasn't going the way it was supposed to. But I think all in all, this show itself was kind of lackluster and some questionable booking decisions, in my opinion. So we're just going to get right into everything. No need to waste your time right now. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Hit the subscribe button. We're up to 12 subscribers, so that is great. We had our first comment on a video. Thank you for that. Got our first couple likes in. So, we're going to continue to post daily. Like I said, the goal is 100 days in a row. You can keep me to that word. You can videotape that now, record it now. I'm going to get it done. This is day 4, I believe, in a row. So we're going to continue that moving forward. But let's jump right into this episode. And we'll kick things off with how the show started, which is start off with the man, Solo Sikoa, back on our TV screens, which you just absolutely love to see. Solo Sikoa comes out. Well, he didn't even come out. They were announcing the introductions to Monday Night Raw, and all you hear, it's just me, Oos. Day one, yeah, it's just me, Oos. And then Solo Sikoa coming through the crowd, super over with the crowd still, as the crowd is cheering for Solo, very much over. He kind of calls out Jey Uso in a matter of no time. Jey Uso's music hits. He comes out immediately with the microphone, kind of is going off on Solo, letting him know, like, hey, we need you back. We had to run the play. This is your warning shot. Bow. So he kind of runs it at Solo. Solo, does duck it and responds, everyone okay? Being Solo, being the comedian, heel, charismatic face that he is actually right now, instead of the heel that he was, the charismatic face that he's been, cutting up a damn good promo, in my opinion, kind of calling out everything that Jey was saying, like, why would I come back and join the family? Like, I'm doing my best right now on my own. Like, how have you done since you joined the family? You were a world champion on your own. You won the Royal Rumble on your own. What have you been since you went back to your family? In all honesty, I mean, Jey did continue to cut another kind of good promo back at him, answering the question and saying, we're the reason that you're here. We're the reasons, he kind of brought up how he's his little brother. He had to feed him. He had to change his diapers, everything like that. But then he kind of brought up the only reason you're in this industry is because we're here. Like, we're the reason we brought you in here. We're the reason that you have all the success, all the money and everything is because of us. It's because of your older brothers and because of Roman Reigns, which was a good response. Like I said, Solo did respond with the pew 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 and kind of ends it saying, I'm not joining the Bloodline anymore. Like, I'm going to continue to be on my own. Jey calls him out and says, I'm going to fight you tonight. And if we beat you, you have to join the family. And Solo's like, fine, but if I win, you have to leave me the hell alone and move on from this. So it does set up for kind of what is a big storyline main event. I mean, talent-wise, these two are not the best in-ring workers, just being bluntly obvious and honest there. But it does set up for a main event that is kind of important, because either we're going to continue to keep this charismatic Solo on his own and we can see something new, something different that we haven't seen before, with Solo actually doing his own thing, not being involved with the Bloodline at all, or we go back to the run-of-the-mill basic scenario that we have seen for multiple years now with Solo joining the Bloodline. And we'll get to the rest of that later on. But then we kick it off with the first match of the Luchador tournament to see who will face Roman Reigns at Mexico City for the title. I think this tournament, it's going to be a lot of fun. The matches are going to be a lot of fun for sure. They're going to be exciting. They're going to be fast paced. It's going to be a lot of people's, introduction to Luchador being on the main roster. But when it comes down to the winner, I think we all kind of know it's going to be Penta versus Rey Fenix in the finals. And Penta's, 95% chance Penta's going to win this tournament because he's your biggest name in AAA. But Laredo Kid, whenever he gets a chance to be on any WWE show or event, he's going to absolutely do everything possible to show out. He's always going to do it the most he possibly can to look good, to leave a mark on the WWE. And he had a great match here. Him and Penta had a good match. The crowd was semi into it, on and off. The crowd throughout the show was not the best. I'm just being honest. But then again, it was in Norfolk. No offense. I doubt anyone watching is from Norfolk or whatever. But the crowd was not the best. But this match was solid. Continue to have these matches on. Like I said, they're going to be fun matches. Build Penta up. And then it was time to get the Vision. And the Vision, I mean, let me slide this picture over a little bit so you can see it better. The main talking point about the whole sequence is really just Braun Breaker, how he's very much toned out. He's very much not caring what's going on with the Vision. The Vision is just a bunch of frat guys. You have Logan Paul, and then you literally just have Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree who can't keep their hands off each other. That's their whole gimmick going on. And there's a setup for their match against Tozawa, who they're talking trash on here. Kind of very, very cringe. And like I said, everyone's thinking the same thing. We just need to get this man out of the Vision because he has bigger things to worry about than this. So just have them drop the title. In the match, I mean, as you can imagine, very generic match. Braun stood there the whole time, didn't really care about it. And we had Austin Theory win. And then, of course, post-match, you're going to get shenanigans where they're going to try to beat down Tozawa. So Maxine comes down, tells them to beat him down more. Austin Theory did win with a new finisher. I forget what they called it. Not that it really matters. But he hit him with a forearm, and that's how he won. So I guess that's his new finisher moving forward. Who knows? But yeah, then they beat him down after the match. He goes for that chair spot again, the same one that put Otis out, except for Adam Pearce. And security comes out to break that up. And then we have Braun Breaker in the ring, which I thought he didn't care, but clearly he wants to do something. So he's looking to spear the absolute living hell out of Tozawa. And then we get Oba Femi's music hits. Mr. Aura himself walks down to the ring. They have a little stare down moment going on. And the stare down, it doesn't, like I said, lead to really anything. It kind of just had them staring down at each other, building towards this feud that could happen. And then security gets involved and breaks all that up as well, not letting them actually get physical with each other. Like I said, this feud is something I'm looking forward to. These are your two faces. This is going to probably be the biggest feud moving forward for this next generation. It's going to be up there. Like, hopefully it can live up to the same feuds that we had with, Randy and John, or if you had Seth and Roman, or if you had, Rock and Austin, or whatever it might be. These are the two pillars of the new generation. I do believe these are your two top guys. And having them feud right now, it should be a terrific feud. Hopefully they can continue to move Braun away from the Vision so he can actually look like a single star going against Oba, not this side character that he is right now. And then a little bit later on the show, we seen Braun go run into Paul Heyman. This Paul Heyman was acting different than the Paul Heyman we've seen recently, because this one was kind of like, yes, Mr. Breaker, of course you can ask me anything, Mr. Breaker, whereas previous episodes he was kind of just blowing him off, like he didn't really care what he had to say. So I don't know if we're going to move back to having Braun Breaker be a Paul Heyman guy, but he just asked him straight up, is Oba the future? He also asked Byron Saxton that question earlier too, but he asked Paul saying, is Oba the future? And Paul Heyman does what he does best. He doesn't actually answer the question. He flips the question, saying, I think you think that Oba family is the future, not you. And so they, like I said, they're definitely setting up for this feud, which it should be a good feud. Continue to progress this feud moving forward. And I am glad that they're making it very simple to the point that Braun is pissed off and mad that Oba Femi kind of came in and snatched his chain. Oba Femi is the future now, not Braun Breaker, and he's kind of calling that out like he was the future, and now he no longer is. Oba is. So I'm glad they're just keeping it simple. They're running with that because I think that is what it should be, and that's what the feud should be moving forward. So continue to do that correctly. Then we had the low point, and not even like the low point of the show, but the crowd. Like I said, the crowd was not great, but the crowd during this match gave no cares in the world. You didn't even know a match was going on. I thought they were on commercial break. Like, there was absolutely no sound coming from the crowd in this match. But we had the Judgment Day taking on Sol Ruka and a mystery partner. And I seen something on Twitter, like they literally posted the card for Monday Night Raw, and they had Io Sky's name on it, kind of spoiling the big surprise that was there. If you didn't see that, it was still kind of obvious because Sol's like, I got someone else that wants to get revenge on the Judgment Day. I mean, that's really the only person that you can think of other than Rhea Ripley, maybe. But it's literally just Io is the only other person. So her partner was Io Sky, who, is still beloved by the crowd. She's about the only reason the crowd made any noise in this match is because of Io. Like I said, I think the match itself was solid. It wasn't a bad match by any means, just the crowd being so dead took a lot away from this match, but it was hard to get invested into it when the crowd didn't care about it. The only time the crowd got loud is when Sol hit the Soul Snatcher in the end, which was a clean Soul Snatcher, which is good. Hopefully that she can continue to get her confidence back up so she can be who she was in NXT in the ring, at least wise. So they pick up the win here. Really kind of means nothing. I guess Sol is calling her shot at the IC title and her beating Judgment Day. Even though she didn't pin Raquel, she can call her shot for the IC rematch because she did just beat the Judgment Day. Roxanne, I kind of just feel bad for her at this point. When she got called up as the Prodigy. She's supposed to be like a star. She was a star in NXT, gets called up, put in the Judgment Day. Yes, she gets featured, but we kind of knew when she joined the Judgment Day, oh, there's your pin magnet. Like, she's just going to get pinned in every single match. Kind of had the same role, like, JD would be, like, in pinned in every match. But then again, it does make sense. She did get recruited by Pin Balor himself when he was in Judgment Day. So now she's in there being the pig magnet herself, the pin prodigy, you can probably call her. So that is her role right now. And sadly, I wish she was actually being booked a little bit stronger so we could put her in the mid-card scene as an actual threat. But right now, she's not a threat to anybody other than Raquel Rodriguez being her tag partner. And then we see them go backstage. Sol and Io are talking, and then we see Looney Lyra. Becky was right about that. Looney Lyra, who looks absurd. She looks insane here. She looks like a nutcase. But we do get Lyra finally on TV, which I'm glad she had at least this little 30 seconds of TV time, because I was hoping they did not go 2 weeks without putting her on TV at all. She does need to be on TV. She is one of the best characters overall right now. But she kind of calls out Sol and Io saying, oh, yeah, I'm sure you guys are so happy for your win, your big win that you had. Like, I'm sure, Sol, like, you get a chance to go back after the IC title. What makes you think you can win my title? So maybe they're setting up this feud, which I would be perfectly okay with this feud going on. However, I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but if Lyra and Sol have a feud, Lyra should win the feud. I'm just being honest with you. Like, I think Lyra right now is just a better character worker and is more over than Sol's character is at this very moment. So if they were to have a match or two, I think Lyra should be the one winning that match. Now, no, she shouldn't sweep or dominate her, but I think Lyra should win, especially right now with the work she is doing. And she is over. Her presentation's a little bit better. Her character work is a lot better. So I'm looking forward. If they do move this going forward, the matches are going to be terrific because these two do have great work in the ring and good chemistry from what they did in NXT as well. So they're definitely setting up for this. Hopefully, like I said, Lyra can win and we can push her a little bit further. The IC title might be a little weird considering that it is a heel that has it, but nonetheless, this is something to do in the meantime. Just continue to keep these two on TV. So nice. But moving forward after that, we have Dragon Lee get the win, and then we see Big Cass kind of appear in the background looking to take out Dragon Lee. He does exactly that. He comes in the ring, he takes out Dragon Lee really quickly, hits him with that body slam. I forget what they're calling it, but he hits him with the body slam, takes him out, and then we have Javon Evans' music hit, kind of certifying that this is the feud that they're going to run moving forward, which I'm perfectly okay with this mid-card feud going on Monday Night Raw. We love to see Javon in ring, and I think Big Cass has looked good with the limited time that we've seen him in ring so far. And Javon gets destroyed. He had very, very little offense, tried to do a springboard attack, got taken out, he gets kicked in the face, he gets dropped. That was it for Javon. So obviously we're making Big Cass look like this big, strong guy, and we're going to probably book him to be that strong character. Who knows if he's going to have a match with Dragon Lee. He'll probably get the winner of Dragon next week or whatever. And then clearly the feud is Javon taking on Big Cass. And like I said before, I didn't think Big Cass would lose his first feud, but Javon should absolutely not be losing this feud. He should be getting booked to be your future star and be winning this feud to kind of build him up to go after maybe a, mid-card title if you want, or put him in Money in the Bank. But clearly this is the feud moving forward. Perfectly fine segment. Now it's time to talk about this whole segment, and once again, I'm not going to harp on this forever because I don't even feel like talking about that long. But we get a backstage segment where Rey Mysterio is talking about the tournament that they have going on. He has the best luchadors in the world in this tournament, so Dragon Lee wants to thank him. And obviously, Dom comes in saying, I'm your mega champion, so I'm the best luchador in the world, which does obviously make sense. It makes sense to me. So Dom kind of says it, I'm the best luchador in the world. Why wouldn't I be in the tournament? Dragon Lee takes offense to it, so he calls out Dom for a match. I was like, okay. We have Dragon and Dom. This could be a good way to start building Dom back up, for Triple Mania coming up where he's going to be taking on El Grande Americano, which was already announced. But instead, WWE, what they do, and they had Dom lose. Why did they have Dom lose? I don't know. Dragon Lee doesn't need this win. He's not going to win the tournament because Penta's in the damn tournament, so he's not winning the tournament, so that means nothing to him. Dom Mysterio is your Triple H champion that's going to go on and probably main event Triple Mania against El Grande Americano, and that match at this point in time has absolutely no stakes because Dominik Mysterio can't get booked to win a goddamn match. It's the same thing that happened with the El Grande story. Dom on AAA is a superstar. He's your main eventer, and then when he gets up to the main roster, he's a joke, and he can't win a match. Same, like I said, the El Grande story was absolutely comedy feud on WWE with the roles reversed, and down to AAA it was the biggest feud that they could possibly tell. I said this in my last review. I'm going to say it in this review too. Keep Dom off the main roster. Just don't have him on the main roster. Clearly, he did something to you. I think I've seen some report that he's upset with his booking, and he kind of posted something about it after SummerSlam. He posted, "I'm just here so I don't get fined." So I'm guessing, TKO or Triple H, whoever got butthurt about that. So now they're just going to have him lose matches every single week to kind of punish him, is my thought process here of what they're doing, because there's no possible reason why he should be continuing to get pinned after pin after pin, losing matches to guys he shouldn't be losing to. And I understand if you're not the biggest Dom fan in the world, but like I said, he is your Triple H champion, and that Triple Mania coming up, he should not be getting loss after loss every single week. It's just absolutely atrocious booking, and I'm not going to talk about it no more tonight. Then we had Stephanie Vaquer set up for the feud that they have going on with Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. Stephanie comes out, kind of, thanks the crowd for having her back and supporting her all the way. I think Stephanie is just very easy to like. You can tell she actually cares about this, and she is very appreciative of it. So she cuts what is a solid, promo with her in between English and Spanish that she was cutting. We all knew Becky Lynch was going to come out. Becky Lynch comes out, interrupts her. Then these two have a pretty solid, back and forth, taking jabs at each other. Becky had a good, line where she kind of called Steph out, saying, I do respect, you came on the main roster, made an impact, but clearly, you've been gone more than you've been here, type of line, saying she's always been hurt. She said, I don't know if your body gives up on you just because your mind's too weak to, or something like that. And kind of called her out for all of her injuries, saying, maybe her body's just weak because her mind is fragile and her body gives up before her mind. But they have a pretty solid back and forth. This is the feud we want. They both want to go after the world title. It does kind of sound like Stephanie wants to take out Liv. Becky said, I would like to take out Liv too, but I just care about the title. I don't really care about Liv. So maybe we put the title on Stephanie, then we can set up this feud. Like I said, I'm assuming it's going to be a triple threat match, most likely, because they're going to have these two in a number one contendership match. We're going to get the good old scenario where Judgment Day is going to hop in, beat them all up. Adam Pearce going to come out. Well, let's just do a triple threat at Money in the Bank or a Sunday Night Main Event or whatever you want to put it at. That's where I see this feud going, and continue to put them on, continue to let them cut promos because they are putting on pretty solid segments. After they leave, Liv Morgan comes in, kind of takes out Becky Lynch. Not really. She had the upper hand, but then Becky Lynch hits her with a back exploder. Stephanie comes running back in to beat up Liv, and them two have another kind of face-to-face moment with each other, a little stare down going on. So, like I said, clearly this is what we're building up towards. I'm assuming we're going to get that number one match coming up real soon. And then we had a couple LA Knight backstage segments going on here. LA Knight being, LA Knight, you have to include him a little bit every now and then. But LA Knight was backstage with the luchador mask, and he was kind of saying to Adam Pearce, hey, if I put on this mask, will I be able to get a number one contenders match? Since you have to be a luchador to get that match, what do I have to do to get my championship match against Roman Reigns? And he makes a good point. Roman literally told his family to not touch LA Knight because he's going to handle him. But we did have Adam Pearce say, we will set up your championship contender match, or pretty much your number one contendership match, coming out of Mexico City. So it is looking like this will be at Money in the Bank, most likely, because he'll have to win a number one contendership match. And we're already out in, I believe it's August or September 14th or something like that. August, whatever that match is in Mexico City. But they're going to have that match, and then I'm assuming they're going to have LA Knight win a number one contendership match, setting up the number one contender for him versus Roman at Money in the Bank. And he might take on Jacob Fatu. Not to say this is the number one contendership, but maybe if you beat Fatu, you can fight Roman, for the title, because we had Fatu step in and kind of talk to LA Knight and call him out, saying, watch your mouth, stop talking about my family the way you're talking about my family. LA Knight being sarcastic as usual, saying, you have to get permission from your daddy to put your hands on me because otherwise you're not allowed to. Fatu still super over with the crowd as he cuts his punchline. The crowd is going along with him. All gas, no brains, yada I mean. Solid back and forth between these two. Like I said, I do see this kind of being the match to set up for the championship match. But then again, maybe Fatu shouldn't be getting pinned by LA Knight if we want to make him this big, scary Samoan werewolf. But this is where I do see it going moving forward. We did have this kind of hint towards the main event coming up. Solo runs into LA Knight backstage saying, hey, I need your help pretty much tonight. The Bloodline's going to get involved. And LA Knight tells him, no, this was a one night. SummerSlam was a one night thing. I'm not going to help you moving forward. That was it. We're one and done. And Soul's you don't understand. You're not fighting Roman. You're fighting the Bloodline. And I do think this is kind of him hinting towards once he loses in the main event, like, hey, if I lose, you're going to fight the Bloodline, including himself. So he might be the one to screw Solo over in the end because he's been trying to reach this helping hand out to LA Knight this whole entire time. And now the fact that LA Knight didn't help him, he's probably going to be the one to cost LA Knight his championship in the end because LA Knight does not want to help Solo, and Solo's just sitting here asking for his help. It's a little segment. And then I'm not even going to spend that much time, honestly, on the main event. I kind of talked about it throughout the review, but the match itself was not great. It was very slow paced. It was your normal kind of Jey Uso match. I mean, it's Jey Uso and Solo. As much as I love Solo and his character and his charisma, his in ring ability is still not the greatest in the world unless he's in there with like a top tier wrestler. Jey Uso's not that, and Jey Uso's only good if he's in there with a top tier guy. Solo's not that. So very slow, boring, kind of more of a storytelling type of match. And we've seen the ending just with Jimmy getting involved a couple times, and Jey hit his second spear frog splash, and I was like, is that really it? Like, is that how we're ending this? No LA Knight, no nothing else, no Fatu, just a second spear, a pin, and that was it. And that's how it ended. It was kind of, I don't know, I thought it was anticlimactic the way it ended. I thought it was kind of a boring decision. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if Solo was to win this match, we'd be getting a whole different territory. We begin to Solo that's not in the Bloodline. He can continue to be his charismatic self, maybe go off, do an actual singles run without the MFT Bloodline type thing, the Bloodline 2.0, actually being a member of the Bloodline. We haven't seen Solo on the main roster not being a part of the Bloodline in some sort of type of way until right now, and it's been the best run of his career without them. So I was looking forward to seeing what they would do if Solo did lose this match, and for him to actually go off on his own. And then we would have fight within the Bloodline because now Solo's gone and he's not coming back because he did win that match. He did beat your right-hand man, causing a lot more, fighting in the Bloodline. Instead, we went with the normal sissy decision and we had Solo lose, so he has to rejoin the Bloodline. And I mean, it's not, I'm not happy with it. I thought it was a shitty decision. Like I said, this was shitty, Dom was shitty, but as a Solo fan, and for any of my other Solo fans out there, it still will be nice to have Solo on TV. He's going to be on every week, but he won't be the head of like the Bloodline cutting the promos like he's been doing. But the comedic relief that he can give to the Bloodline with his charismatic ability to bounce jokes off of Fatu or bounce jokes off of Roman or bounce jokes off the Usos will be entertaining nonetheless. He will probably try to get Fatu or Roman to break character a couple times because he is that funny, that charismatic, as we have seen. So hopefully he does keep that character at least. But I thought overall it was a boring decision in my overall mind. So, but yeah, that's my full review of this episode of Monday Night Raw. Like I said, it's definitely a kind of a big drop off from what we had last Monday Night Raw, but then it's kind of hard to keep pace with what we did have last Monday Night Raw because that was an absolutely terrific episode. Hopefully SmackDown doesn't fall off like this Friday, but it was, like I said, an okay episode. I'm not going to harp on it too long, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Nonetheless, it's been a while watching wrestling. Y'all stay beautiful, world.